When you're president, you have your stunt doubles just in case.
See, we look the same. See,
Yeah.
if I need, like, this is exactly. So Alfred's a good man. So I know this is gonna, there's gonna be some dangerous stuff. So Alfred's gonna take that. So we look alike.
I'll tell you when I sub in it.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, we'll give you the cue. Well, you've had plenty of moments on the ice. You're about to have a whole new journey of moments here on this side of things and here in the boardroom and making the big decisions. Conversations that define a destiny. That's what we're doing here. And when you look at them all, the impact where you realized this is what's going to be it for me, what was that conversation for you?
Well, I think there's probably a few different conversations, but one happened for me when I was 16 years old, and I finished my first year junior in Medicine Hat, and I was a Medicine Hat kid, born and raised, realized my dream of playing for the Medicine Hat Tigers, and after the season, I had an okay season, and the general manager at the time, Russ Farwell, who went on to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, was a very influential person in my life, and certainly growing up in Medicine Hat. But he said to me, he sat me down and said, "Trev, you've got a chance to be a professional hockey player and to be drafted next year, and you've got, this." And it's interesting, as a kid, until my sights had always been set on playing junior hockey in Medicine Hat, and that was something that was big to me. And then instantly, in one conversation, he took my focus from here and he expanded it to here and said, "You have an opportunity." And he took my lens from here and just made it that much bigger. And that was really the first time that I really said, wow, I could realize a dream and play in the National Hockey League. And so that for me was a real defining moment in my life. I was 16 years old and kind of just a kid who loved to play but didn't realize the potential that I could have, and so that really meant a lot.
I think that's powerful. When you find someone that believes in your ability to do something, so then you in turn can believe, and you did just that. You take it from Medicine Hat, you move to the NHL, and then you become a leader on the ice. When did you realize you had that presence to lead a team?
I think back to Medicine Hat, I was a young guy. I was 16 years old. I was playing with 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, so I wasn't really relied on. I wasn't asked to be a leader per se. Having said that, I always, I think, just, naturally had that responsibility and those characteristics. And in my second year in Medicine Hat, I kind of took more of a leadership role. And I think that, leadership for me isn't defined on, what you say. It's more about what you do. And for me, it's so much more impactful leading by example. And I think it's the little things. It's whether you're on time, and it's about being, not only being on time and being punctual and following the rules, but it's also about working hard and doing the right thing regardless of whoever's watching, regardless of if anybody's watching. I always say that to guys, is that you work as hard if the coach and GM were standing watching you doing a workout, would you work harder if they were watching or if nobody was watching?
I'm thrilled to officially announce Trevor Linden back where he belongs as President of Hockey Operations.
If we look at you now as the president, how do you manage the idea of vulnerability in your role? Because yes, you're the president, but you're also this ambassador everyone has admired year after year.
I think part of the connection I have with the people of Vancouver and British Columbia and hockey fans is that, I've always tried to be just a regular person, and that's really kind of how I view myself. And I know that this is a new role for me. I've got a lot to learn. I've surrounded myself with good people. I think bringing in Jim Benning, it's been great. I've learned a lot from Jim. Certainly Willie, super good person. John Weisbrod as well. So I've always considered myself someone who can learn. I'm a good learner. I want to learn. And I'm open to it.
All right.
How are you, man? How's it going?
Seeing good yourself?
Nice to see you.
Looking sharp?
You've grown.
Look at me. All gray.
No, but you used to be a skinny little French kid.
I'm solid now, but
Anytime there's change, there's a bit of resistance from the people that always liked the way it was. How do you as a leader get people to buy in to change?
I think that one of the things, and that's a great question, because you bring in a guy like Jim Benning, and you bring in John Weisbrod, and you bring in Willie Desjardins, and it's hard because it's uncomfortable for everyone. And you bring in Trevor Linden, and that's uncomfortable because there's different ideas and different ways of doing things. But the one thing we've tried to do with our team here, which is the executive team, is exactly that, is build that team atmosphere. And there's 3 real things that we're really trying to be focused on, is that's direction, communication, and accountability. And if we can maintain that, make sure people understand exactly what's expected of them, and make sure that the direction is crystal clear, communicate well to our people, right down to our part-time amateur scout in Minnesota or wherever that is, that we have great organizational communication. And then ultimately it's about being accountable. So and it's being inclusive. And so when we bring in new people, we want to come to our philosophies and how we want to do things together.
The idea of the conversations you have with players, with managers, with fans coming up to you, how do you make each of these interactions personal and make every conversation count?
Yeah, it's interesting because I have a tremendous amount of respect for people that don't know me and come up to me in a coffee shop or a restaurant and just want to say hi, because I know that's a bit uncomfortable for them and maybe they're taking a chance. So I do respect that, and I think it's about being authentic and real. And I think when people can genuinely see that you care, that's how those connections are made, and that's when those conversations leave a lasting impact. When I think about the conversations I have here at the rink with hundreds of people within the organization, I think I recognize that when I think about successful hockey teams, I think about guys like Daniel Henrik-Sedin, who play 20 or 25 minutes a night, and these guys are great leaders and they're great people because they respect every role on the team, and they realize that every role is critical to them winning games, and that's ultimately why we're here, is to win. And I know that regardless of titles, that we have a group of people here that are critical, that everyone makes a significant contribution, and that's how we're going to be successful. And they need to know their contribution is important, and it is. And so for me, it's about people. It's about connecting with people. It's about being real and valuing every role that's part of it. And that's I think that comes from being a professional hockey player. I realized that the teams that were successful that I played on were great because we had good role people and people that cared about what they were doing. So it's kind of how I approach things on this side of the fence.
Hey, it's Riaz. Thanks for watching. For more conversations, click on subscribe and check us out online at everyconversationcounts.com.
Yeah,
RoboCam out here.
Hey, we didn't come all this way with that RoboCam. Here's Ryan behind the tree.